How we doing YouTube? It's your friendly gamer, SmartEntity here. This is going to be a update slash part 2 of my Melee 2.0 explained and optimized building video. So this is a build I left with you guys last time. It's still very strong, it's still something I use very commonly. But Melee 2.0 has been out for a few weeks now, and I do want to do a bit more detailed discussion and give you guys some more awesome builds. So the way that Melee 2.0 works is there are two types of melee weapons, right? I call it the heavy hitter type and the speed hitter type. So to qualify as a good heavy hitter weapon, it needs to have a high base damage. And to qualify as a good speed hitter weapon, it needs to have a high base damage as well as high attack speed, so high DPS. Now the reason I break these melee weapons into two types is because for the heavy hitter, you want to use a channeling build, and for a speed hitter, you want to use a non-channeling build. So I'll talk about the heavy hitter build first. So this is the build I left with you guys last time. One of my viewers did mention that if you take out Crypt Charge and put in Molten Impact, that'll give you a higher damage number. So that is true. I personally still prefer my build more because for my type of gameplay, which are long T3 survivals, those are definitely the gameplay that I do the most. This build is so much stronger because it gives me a higher corrosive damage, and that plus 75 corrosive against those heavy gunners do actually help out a lot. But if you are not doing those kind of missions, putting Molten Impact is definitely fine. Only thing I would say is if you're going to put Molten Impact in, don't take out Crypt Charge. Switch it for Reflex Coil, because without Crypt Charge, Reflex Coil is not used to its max potential because you can't have 100% channeling efficiency. And if you are going to go for a damage build, Reflex Coil taken out for Molten Impact does give you that sort of max damage. Now another build that I've used quite commonly is this Life Strike orientated build. So this is a very unique mod in the game. It's only a mod in the game thus far that attaches to weapons and that allows you to gain health by attacking enemies. And it's also unique because it is the only mod in the game that you definitely do not want to level up. So at base it does plus 5% lifesteal, minus 35% channel efficiency, and the reason I say you do not want to level this one up is because you do not want to decrease channel efficiency anymore. Now melee weapons have always been the go-to weapon when you run out of bullets. Now it's actually quite feasible for use even if you have bullets, but if you decrease channel efficiency too much and you drain all your energy in a channeling build, without channeling, your sort of strikes are just too weak and too far from optimized. And furthermore, a 5% life steal is actually quite huge given you have a max build. So you definitely don't want to level that up. Keep it at base. It'll boost your health, it'll serve its purposes, and it'll allow you to keep on striking with channeling, so with that damage. So I've switched out Corrupt Charge for Life Strike, everything else stays the same. And with this build, you still have very decent channel efficiency, and overall it's still a very strong heavy damager. Now I'll talk about the speed hitters. Now the reason that you shouldn't use a channeling build against speed hitters is because it's just inefficient. To basically explain that, I'll give you an extreme example. Say if you have a weapon, a heavy hitter weapon that does 100 damage per hit and it does 1 hit per second. So when you channel, you do 150 damage per hit, right? Now if you have a speed hitter that does 50 damage per hit but does 2 hit per second, it still does 100 damage per second. But when you channel, even though it still does 150 damage per second, you have to use channeling attack twice. So you're using, say, 10 energy as opposed to 5 energy at no alteration at channeling efficiency. Now, 5 versus 10 may not be that huge, but when you are striking in a game, say 500 times versus 250 times, that number adds up very quickly. So I'm going to use a do icons here for my sort of speed build. Most of the things stays the same, so Fury stays the same, Pressure Point stays the same, Spoil Strike stays the same. These 3 mods you should always have, there's never an excuse not to have them. Now do icons is quite a unique-ish weapon in that it can utilize Berserker. The way Berserker works is it increases attack speed if you manage to hit a crit. So you put in True Steel there to increase that crit chance and in Berserker. And that increase in attack speed is very noticeable. It definitely increases that DPS dramatically. And Berserker definitely is worth a mod slot. Now I put a few elemental mods in here. I put focus energy in here in case you do want to do some channeling. But otherwise, if you put in a Forma and put in something like Molten Impact, that'll be perfectly fine as well. But overall, when you use this weapon, one, you don't want to use combos, so you don't want to go into, holding the melee weapon mode. You want to be in your sort of hold your primary or secondary mode and keep on pressing E. So you don't have to, accidentally go into a combo, because just by pressing E while you're holding your primary weapon will give you so much damage. I will do a bit of gameplay later on to show you guys what I mean. But basically the way to use this weapon is, just exactly the same way as you've been using it in Melee 1.0. Just keep on mashing E and that will do a lot of damage. You can definitely put in, a Forma or 2 in here, alter the elementals a bit. You can even not use the Ice mod and then use something like a Voltaic Strike or a Verdant Scourge if you want to, further up a particular elemental. I haven't put any Forma in here, and this build seems to be fine. So that's pretty much how you want to, up your speed build. Alright guys, so I'm just going to show off some do ichor gameplay here. I'm not going to do Dragon Arcana again, I've done that in the past. So basically, here I have the melee weapons non-equipped. So just by mashing E, it's a very standard attack. You do a lot of, swings. Now if I equipped the do ichors, if you just attack, it looks quite cool, but as you can see, it's definitely slightly lower in attack speed. And if you are doing, your high T3 survival or whatever it is you're doing, you don't need this kind of combo or whatever it is. You definitely just want to do your, slice and dice as fast as you can. Now this is even more evident when you start fighting enemies. Because Berserker starts to come in. So I will show you guys what that looks like shortly. So first I'm gonna do it without equipping the melee weapons. So just get a few infested in here. Okay, should be enough. So as you can see, it's extremely fast right now because Berserker's kicked in. And you're just striking hard out. Everything is just dying. This is Satura, so it's level 30 to 40 infested. Okay, so now I'm going to equip the do ichors. There's not a lot of enemies here, so we'll wait for the next wave. Alright, so I've got a few enemies now, so I will show you guys what this looks like. Well, it's equipped. So it definitely looks cooler, but if you just compare it, I definitely feel the attack speed is slightly slower. It's not as obvious just because Berserker has kicked in a bit and it is definitely still very fast. And having this sort of combo in play definitely looks cooler, but overall I definitely feel it's a bit slower than if you just attack it, straight up. Alright guys, please like, comment and subscribe. I do have good news. Recently I've changed to fiber internet, so that means I'll be able to upload videos a lot more. So yeah, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers!
Extraction is ready. Unless you can handle